Have you ever wondered what it's truly like to live alone as an older man? It's more than just peace, it's about freedom, rediscovery, and creating a life that's fully your own. In this video, I'm diving deep into the profound benefits of living solo in your later years, from personal growth to financial independence, and even how solitude can improve your mental health. Stick around until the end, because by the time we're done, you might just realize that living alone could be the most fulfilling and empowering chapter of your life yet. If you haven't yet subscribed, I highly recommend doing so and activating the notification bell to ensure you never miss a video. Your support means a lot to me as we continue to grow our community and reach more people with our content. If you enjoy the topic of this video, please leave a comment with the number 1. If it's not quite your cup of tea, drop a 0 in the comments. Your feedback is crucial in helping me create content that better serves you. Let's get started. 1. Freedom to be yourself. One of the most cherished rewards of living alone as an older man is the boundless freedom it brings, a freedom that stretches far beyond the absence of others. It's an invitation to rediscover yourself, your passions, your preferences, and your pace without having to navigate the complexities of compromise or consideration for another person's routine. This isn't merely about being alone, it's about reclaiming autonomy over your life, your choices, and your time with a richness that grows deeper each day. Imagine waking up at your own pace, unhurried, as the soft rays of morning light spill through your window. There's no need to rush or be beholden to anyone else's schedule. The day is yours, open and undefined, waiting to unfold however you desire. You can brew your coffee just the way you like it, without rushing, and sit in silence or play your favorite music as you ease into the morning. The stillness around you is not a void, but a canvas upon which you can paint the day exactly as you wish. When I first began living alone, it was as though a weight had been lifted from my shoulders, a weight I didn't even know I was carrying. The quiet wasn't daunting, it was freeing. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't constantly adjusting to fit into someone else's life. I could wake up whenever my body told me it was ready, cook meals that catered entirely to my taste, and enjoy them at my leisure, without the need to adhere to a particular schedule. The simple act of choosing what to do with my time felt like an exhilarating revelation, like reclaiming parts of myself that had long been on hold. There's something deeply satisfying about the ability to follow your rhythm. You begin to listen to your own needs and desires in a way that may not have been possible before. If you want to spend the entire morning reading a book you've been putting off for years, you can. If you feel like pursuing a forgotten hobby, the time is yours to dedicate. There are no interruptions, no guilt, and no need to prioritize someone else's preferences over your own. It's a deep and personal freedom, one that allows for realignment with your authentic self. I remember hearing about a man in his early 60s who had spent years in a shared home, always mindful of the space he took up and the noise he made. When he finally began living alone, he embraced the opportunity to rediscover his love for painting, a passion that had been dormant for decades. With no one else around, he transformed his living room into an art studio where he could paint late into the night without worrying about disturbing anyone. He shared how the quiet of those late hours, with only the hum of the city in the distance, became his most creative and productive time. His art flourished in a way it hadn't when his environment was shared, confined by the boundaries of compromise and consideration for others. This story resonates deeply with me because it mirrors the kind of self-exploration that living alone offers. It's not just about regaining physical space, but about nurturing the mental and emotional space to be yourself. Unapologetically, living alone opens the door to possibilities, those small, precious moments of peace where you can reconnect with passions or try something entirely new. It's an opportunity to prioritize yourself, explore your creativity, and indulge in activities that bring you joy without the need to justify your choices or compromise your time. For me, the beauty of living alone lies in the freedom to pursue unconventional interests without judgment. I find joy in spending hours tinkering with a new idea or simply sitting in silence, reflecting on life's journey. There's no one to interrupt those moments of deep introspection, no external demands pulling me away from my thoughts. It's just me, and that solitude is more enriching than I could have ever imagined. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that it works. It's also about creating a space that reflects who you are, not just as a man, but as a person who has lived and learned, grown and evolved. Your home becomes an extension of your personality, a sanctuary where you can experiment, explore, and indulge in whatever brings you happiness. Whether that's building an elaborate woodworking project, filling your walls with art, or simply keeping things minimal and serene, every corner of your space is a reflection of you. The absence of another's presence in your daily routine doesn't mean isolation, it means connection with yourself. You begin to appreciate the quiet moments, the small routines, and the sense of accomplishment that comes from managing your life exactly as you see fit. You aren't lonely, you're finally in touch with your own company. And for the first time, you might find that it's enough. Living alone gives you the chance to cultivate a deep sense of self-reliance, emotional resilience, and personal satisfaction that doesn't rely on the validation or presence of others. Ultimately, the most rewarding aspect of living alone is the time it gives you to invest in yourself. Whether you use that time to explore hobbies, learn new skills, or simply enjoy the peace of an undisturbed afternoon, it's a gift that keeps on giving. You're not just living alone, you're living fully, embracing the freedom to shape your life exactly as you want it. And that is something truly priceless. 2. Peace. The serenity that comes with living alone is often regarded as one of the most cherished gifts for older men who have spent years navigating the whirlwind of family life, careers, and constant responsibilities. After decades of managing the noise and busyness of a bustling household, the profound peace that comes with solo living is like a gentle balm for the soul. It's not just about the absence of sound, it's the richness of stillness. A stillness that provides a sanctuary where you can finally breathe deeply and reconnect with the quiet parts of yourself that may have been lost in the chaos of life. For many men, the tranquility of living alone creates space for reflection, introspection, and meditation. It becomes an opportunity to step away from the constant demands of others, to listen to your thoughts, and to find solace in the simplicity of silence. After years of juggling roles as a provider, father, and husband, there's a unique pleasure in knowing that your time is your own, unburdened by the clamor of daily life. I'll never forget the first time I truly felt the power of that silence. It was a crisp Sunday morning, the kind where the world still feels like it's wrapped in a soft blanket of sleep. The streets were empty, the air was still, and the only sound was the faint melody of birds singing in the distance. I made myself a cup of coffee and sat by the window, letting the warmth of the mug seep into my hands as I watched the slow dance of sunlight filtering through the trees. There was no television blaring in the background, no conversation pulling me away, no rush to tend to anyone's needs but my own. In that moment, I experienced a peace so profound that it felt like my whole being was finally exhaling after years of holding its breath. Living alone allows you to cultivate these moments of quietude, where your morning routine can become a sacred ritual. Picture yourself waking up early, the house still and calm, with nothing but the soft glow of dawn lighting the room. You brew your coffee, savoring the aroma as it fills the air, and step outside to sit on your balcony, gazing over your garden. The world is still, and in that stillness you find clarity. There's no urgency, no hurried conversations, no rush to get things done. Just you, your thoughts, and the soft hum of nature around you. In these moments, the quiet becomes more than just the absence of noise, it becomes a space for deep personal connection. With no external distractions, your mind is free to wander and to reflect on the path you've walked and the lessons you've learned. It's in these pockets of stillness that you begin to think more clearly, untangling the complexities of life that were once drowned out by the demands of others. The peaceful environment creates fertile ground for self-discovery, allowing you to nurture your mental and emotional well-being in ways you might never have been able to before. For some, this peace offers the perfect opportunity for meditation. The quiet of your home becomes a sacred space for you to sit in stillness, allowing your mind to quiet and your spirit to find balance. In the absence of distractions, it becomes easier to center yourself, to be present in the moment, and to cultivate a sense of inner calm. Whether you choose to meditate, pray, or simply sit in peaceful reflection, living alone provides the rare luxury of uninterrupted time to connect with your deeper self. But it's not just about grand moments of introspection. There's a quiet joy in the everyday peacefulness of solo living. Imagine the freedom of spending an afternoon reading a book without the sound of someone else's voice breaking your concentration, or enjoying the simple act of preparing a meal without the hustle and bustle of others moving around you. The quiet of your home becomes a soothing background, a gentle reminder that you no longer need to rush or perform. You can move at your own pace, savoring each moment fully and mindfully. For those who've spent years in the thick of busy family life, this newfound peace might feel like a revelation. It's a time to recalibrate, to shed the layers of constant busyness, and to embrace the quiet moments that were once so rare. This tranquility is more than just a benefit, it's a profound shift in the way you experience life. It allows you to be more present, more thoughtful, and more attuned to the world around you. Living alone, you come to realize that silence is not something to be feared or avoided. Instead, it becomes something to cherish, a refuge where you can retreat and recharge. In the stillness, you find peace, and in that peace, you find yourself. Ultimately, the quiet of living alone isn't about isolation, it's about creating a sanctuary for your mind, body, and soul. It's a space where you can think clearly, live intentionally, and appreciate the small, simple pleasures that make life meaningful. Whether you're sitting with a cup of coffee at dawn or reflecting by the window as the sun sets, the peace that fills your home becomes a source of deep, abiding contentment. It's in this calm that you can truly rest, reflect, and savor the beauty of life's quiet moments. 3. Personal growth and self-discovery. Living alone as an older man offers an unparalleled opportunity for deep personal growth. It's a time when you can pause and reflect on your journey, examine the choices that shaped your path, and consider where you want to go from here. Free from the demands of a shared life, you're finally given the gift of space, mental, emotional, and physical, to engage in self-discovery. This chapter of life becomes not just about solitude, but about transformation as you dive inward and explore who you are, perhaps for the first time in years. I vividly remember a time in my own life when I found myself standing at a crossroads, unsure of what direction to take. For years, the relentless noise of daily life, work pressures, family obligations, social expectations had dulled my connection to my desires and needs. I'd become so accustomed to fulfilling my roles as a provider, a friend, and a colleague that I'd lost touch with the most important voice of all my own. But when I began living alone, the shift was almost immediate. The quiet of my home, the open evenings, and the unhurried weekends became a sanctuary for reflection. Slowly but surely, I began to peel back the layers of distraction and rediscover the person I was beneath it all. I remember turning to journaling, a practice I hadn't engaged in since my younger days. Each evening, I would sit down with a notebook and let my thoughts spill out onto the page. There, in the quiet of my own company, I began to confront long-buried dreams and forgotten ambitions. I started to ask myself questions I hadn't dared to before. What do I truly want from life? What passions have I neglected in the chaos of responsibility? Where do I find my deepest sense of fulfillment? The answers didn't come all at once, but slowly, like seeds taking root in the fertile soil of solitude. One story that deeply resonated with me was from a man I encountered online, who shared how living alone in his late 50s became a turning point in his life. After a long career and the end of a marriage, he felt untethered, unsure of who he was without the familiar roles he'd inhabited for so long. To rebuild his life, he made the bold decision to move into a small cabin by the lake, far from the distractions of the city. There, in the quiet embrace of nature, he began a journey inward. He started journaling, reading philosophy, and eventually picked up the practice of meditation. The man spoke of how this newfound solitude helped him strip away the societal expectations and pressures that had dictated so much of his life. In the stillness, he rediscovered a part of himself that had been buried beneath the demands of career, marriage, and social conformity. The experience, he said, was nothing short of transformative. These stories, including my own, highlight a powerful truth: living alone allows for a kind of personal growth that is often impossible in the midst of a busy, shared life. It offers the space and time to reconnect with yourself, nurture your interests and passions, and redefine what success and happiness mean to you. Whether it's picking up a creative hobby, exploring new philosophies, or simply taking the time to reflect, solo living becomes a crucible for transformation. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. There's something incredibly empowering about realizing that you are no longer bound by anyone's expectations but your own. When you're on your own, there's no pressure to live up to someone else's idea of who you should be. You have the freedom to explore your own identity, to dive into the things that truly bring you joy and fulfillment, no matter how unconventional or unexpected they may seem. Living alone creates the perfect environment for this kind of exploration. No distractions are pulling you away from the things that matter most to you. It's just you, your thoughts, and the wide-open possibilities of who you can become. This period of self-discovery can be deeply healing as well. Many men, after years of focusing on the needs of others, find that living alone provides a space to confront emotional wounds they may have been avoiding. Whether it's reflecting on past relationships, unresolved grief, or the challenges of aging, solitude allows you to process these experiences in a way that can lead to profound emotional growth. There's no rush, no deadlines, no external pressures, just time to heal, to reflect, and to come to terms with the complexities of life. In this process, you might discover passions and interests that surprise you. Perhaps you'll find joy in creative pursuits like painting, woodworking, or writing. Maybe you'll reconnect with nature, spending quiet afternoons walking in the woods or tending to a small garden. Or perhaps you'll turn inward, exploring meditation, mindfulness, or spiritual practices that help you connect with something greater than yourself. Whatever form it takes, this period of growth is uniquely personal, and the freedom to explore it without interruption is what makes living alone so powerful. Ultimately, living alone becomes a journey of rediscovery, a chance to reconnect with who you are at your core. It's a time to shed the layers of expectation that society, work, and relationships have imposed on you, and to live authentically, according to your values and desires. This is not just about finding peace in solitude, it's about finding yourself in that peace. And once you do, the possibilities for growth are endless. In the quiet of your own space, with no one else's voice competing for attention, you are free to listen to the one voice that matters most, your own. And in that listening, you just might discover a version of yourself that is more fulfilled, more vibrant, and more in tune with life than ever before. This, perhaps, is the greatest gift of living alone, the chance to evolve into the person you were always meant to be, on your terms and in your own time. 4. Control over your environment. Living alone offers one of the greatest and most liberating gifts: complete control over your environment. It's a chance to craft your living space in a way that reflects not only your tastes, but also your deepest sense of self. No longer do you need to navigate the compromises that come with shared living spaces. You have the freedom to create an environment that is entirely yours, whether that means keeping your home spotless and minimalist or allowing a more relaxed, lived-in charm to take shape. The choices are all yours, and each decision you make reflects the individuality of your journey. One of the most rewarding aspects of solo living is the ability to design your space with intention and personal meaning. Your home becomes more than just a place to sleep and eat. It becomes an extension of your personality, a canvas where your preferences, passions, and life experiences are given form. Whether it's arranging your furniture to maximize comfort and flow, or decorating with pieces that tell the story of your life, the space becomes uniquely you. I have a dear friend who, after his divorce, found solace and empowerment in creating a home that truly reflected his passions. He moved into a charming little house in the countryside, a place where he could start fresh. One of his greatest loves had always been vintage cameras, a hobby his wife never fully understood. But now, living alone, he found the freedom to embrace this passion without compromise. He transformed one of the spare rooms into a personal gallery, filling it with shelves upon shelves of his carefully curated camera collection. Each morning he would walk into that room, feeling a deep sense of pride and joy as he gazed upon his collection, knowing that this space, this expression of who he was entirely his own. It wasn't just a room filled with cameras, it was a reflection of his love for history, art, and craftsmanship, a space that told a story without the need for explanation. The ability to control your environment in such a way isn't just about aesthetics or possessions, it's about creating a sanctuary where you feel truly at home. Every piece of furniture, every picture on the wall, every object has its place because you decided it does. This autonomy can bring a sense of comfort and peace that is difficult to achieve in shared spaces, where compromise often means sacrificing parts of yourself to accommodate others. Another man I once spoke with, in his later years, shared a similar experience. After his children had grown up and moved out, he found himself in a large, quiet house. Instead of seeing the space as a reminder of what was lost, he embraced it as an opportunity to craft a home that reflected his tastes and history. He filled the rooms with antiques he had collected over the years, pieces that held deep sentimental value. Family heirlooms were displayed proudly, and bookshelves overflowed with volumes that had been his companions for decades. Each room was a tribute to his life's journey, a gallery of memories and passions that brought him immense joy. His home had become more than just a living space, it had become a celebration of who he was, filled with meaning and personal history. The power to shape your surroundings, to fill them with the things that matter most to you, is profoundly empowering. No longer do you have to make compromises about what goes where or how things should look. I want to keep your space immaculately organized and clutter-free. You can. Prefer a more relaxed, cozy environment where books, art supplies, or tools are always within reach. That's your choice too. The beauty of living alone is that your home reflects only your desires, your tastes, and your needs. What's more, this control over your environment extends beyond material objects. It's about the atmosphere you cultivate, the energy that flows through your home. You can choose to keep things peaceful and serene, with soft lighting, calming scents, and comfortable spaces for reflection and rest. Or perhaps you prefer to create a lively, vibrant environment filled with music, bright colors, and the tools for creative expression. Whatever atmosphere you desire, it is entirely within your power to create it, because the space is yours alone. This ability to design your environment becomes even more significant as you age. With the wisdom and experience that comes from living through decades of life's ups and downs, you gain a clearer sense of what brings you comfort and joy. You know what makes you feel at ease and what inspires you. Living alone allows you to curate your surroundings in a way that supports your well-being, both physically and emotionally. Whether it's a quiet reading nook bathed in natural light or a kitchen stocked with the ingredients and tools for your favorite meals, you can build a space that nurtures you and helps you thrive. Living alone, with full control over your environment, also invites you to honor your past while embracing the present. Your home becomes a place where you can surround yourself with reminders of your life's journey, whether through objects, photographs, or memories. But it's also a space where you can evolve, adding new elements that reflect who you are becoming. It's this balance of honoring where you've been and celebrating where you are now that makes solo living so deeply fulfilling. In the end, the greatest gift of having control over your environment is the sense of ownership it brings, not just ownership over your home, but ownership over yours. It's a powerful reminder that you can create a space where you feel completely at ease, a space that reflects your soul, your history, and your dreams. There is no need for compromise or explanation. You have the freedom to be fully, authentically yourself, and your home becomes the ultimate expression of that freedom. 5. Financial independence. While living alone might initially seem like a financial burden, many older men find that it fosters a greater sense of financial independence. When you're no longer responsible for supporting others, the freedom to control your finances becomes empowering. You have the autonomy to decide where and how to live, whether that means downsizing to a smaller home, relocating to a more affordable area, or simply managing your budget in a way that aligns with your personal needs and desires. The power to shape your financial future, without the weight of external obligations, can open new doors and allow you to live more fully in ways you may not have imagined. For many, the transition to living alone is a time to reevaluate financial priorities and streamline expenses. By downsizing or making more intentional financial decisions, solo living can lead to more economic flexibility. The money once spent on maintaining a larger household can now be directed toward personal interests, hobbies, or experiences that bring you joy. Whether that's traveling the world, pursuing a long-held passion, or simply enjoying the peace of mind that comes with a secure financial footing. Living alone allows you to manage your resources in a way that serves you. I remember a particularly insightful conversation I had with an old colleague who, after retiring, found himself at a crossroads. For years, he had lived in a large family home, filled with memories and responsibilities. After his children had grown and moved out, the house felt too big, too costly, and too demanding to maintain. As saddened at first, he made the bold decision to sell his home and move into a cozy apartment in the heart of downtown. Initially, the idea of living alone worried him. He was unsure if he could handle the financial demands of maintaining his own space. However, once the move was complete, he quickly realized that the reduced expenses gave him more freedom than he had anticipated. He no longer had to deal with the costs of maintaining a sprawling property, and his new living arrangement not only simplified his life, but also gave him extra savings. With this newfound financial flexibility, he was finally able to pursue photography, a passion he had long dreamed of exploring but never had the time or resources for during his working years. This experience is far from unique. Many older men, upon embracing solo living, discover that downsizing or simplifying their living situation brings with it a wealth of opportunities. Another story I came across on a forum was from a retiree who shared his journey toward financial independence. After spending years maintaining a large home, he decided to downsize to a smaller, more manageable house. What initially seemed like a daunting change turned out to be one of the best decisions he had ever made. Not only did his living expenses decrease significantly, but he also found that the extra savings allowed him to indulge in lifelong dreams that had previously seemed out of reach. For his 70th birthday, he treated himself to a solo trip across Europe, a journey he had always fantasized about but never thought he'd have the means to afford. It was a trip that marked a significant milestone in his life, a celebration of his independence, both financially and personally. These stories highlight the incredible sense of freedom that comes with being able to fully control your financial destiny. When you live alone, every financial decision you make is centered around your own goals and desires. You're no longer bound by the need to compromise with others or to stretch your resources to meet the needs of a family. Instead, you can focus on what truly matters to you, whether that's creating a lifestyle that aligns with your passions, saving for future adventures, or simply enjoying the peace of financial security. One of the unexpected benefits of solo living is that it often encourages you to simplify and streamline your expenses in a way that enhances your quality of life. Downsizing, for example, is not just about reducing costs, it's about embracing a lifestyle that prioritizes freedom and flexibility over the burden of maintaining a larger, more complex household. A smaller home or apartment can mean fewer responsibilities, lower utility bills, and less time spent on upkeep, all of which free up time and money to invest in the things that bring you joy. Whether it's a hobby you've long wanted to pursue, a dream trip you've always had in mind, or simply the satisfaction of financial stability, living alone empowers you to allocate your resources in a way that benefits you. This financial independence also brings with it a sense of personal empowerment. When you're in control of your finances, you gain confidence in your ability to manage your future. You're no longer dependent on anyone else to maintain your lifestyle, and that autonomy can be deeply satisfying. It allows you to live on your terms, free from the constraints that come with shared financial obligations. You can make decisions that align with your values and aspirations without having to worry about how they will impact others. Moreover, financial independence can provide a profound sense of peace and security, especially in later life. Knowing that you are in control of your financial destiny allows you to face the future with confidence. You can plan for the years ahead without the stress of financial uncertainty, and that peace of mind can enhance your overall well-being. Whether you're saving for future travel, investing in a new hobby, or simply enjoying a more comfortable retirement, living alone gives you the freedom to create the life you've always envisioned. In the end, financial independence is about much more than money. It's about having the freedom to make choices that reflect who you are and what you want out of life. It's about simplifying where necessary, indulging where meaningful, and creating a future that is fully your own. When you live alone, you take the reins of your financial life, and that sense of control can open up a world of possibilities. The ability to shape your future on your terms, free from the constraints of others, is one of the most rewarding aspects of solo living, both financially and personally. 6. Improved mental health. Living alone as an older man can bring profound benefits to your mental health. For many, solitude is not just a break from the noise of the world, but a form of healing, a chance to detach from the constant pressures and expectations of social life and reconnect with the self. Without the obligations that come with shared living, you have the space to explore what truly brings you joy and fulfillment, whether it's through meditation, regular exercise, or simply learning to enjoy your own company. Living alone becomes an opportunity to nourish your mind and soul in ways that might not have been possible before. Solitude offers a kind of peace that's difficult to find when you're constantly surrounded by others. It allows you to retreat inward, listen to your thoughts without interruption, and process emotions without external pressure. For some, this quiet time is an invaluable chance to heal from past stressors, whether they stem from career demands, family responsibilities, or personal challenges. The stillness of living alone provides a refuge where mental clarity can blossom, offering space to breathe, reflect, and grow. I can recall a particularly difficult period in my own life when everything seemed to weigh heavily on me. Work stresses, personal responsibilities, and social expectations all seemed to converge at once, leaving me feeling overwhelmed and emotionally exhausted. It was during this time that I truly began to appreciate the solitude that living alone afforded me. My home became my sanctuary, a place where I could retreat from the demands of the world and simply be with myself. I took to walking in the evenings, letting the cool air and the quiet rhythm of nature soothe my mind. Each step allowed me to release the tension I carried, and by the time I returned home, I felt lighter, calmer, and more at peace. In those quiet moments, I began to understand the healing power of solitude. My home, once just a physical space, had become a place of emotional refuge, where I could process my thoughts and emotions without the need to perform or meet anyone else's expectations. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. This experience is not unique. Many older men have shared similar stories of how living alone has positively impacted their mental well-being. I remember reading a heartfelt post from a man in his late 60s on Reddit, where he spoke about how solitude helped him manage his long-standing anxiety. For years, he had struggled to maintain a balance between the demands of his social and personal life. The constant noise, the unspoken expectations, and the pressure to be available to others had exacerbated his anxiety to the point where he felt trapped. But after he began living alone, something shifted. Without the distractions and demands of others, he found the space to focus on himself, his needs, his health, and his happiness. He developed a routine that prioritized his mental health, practicing yoga in his living room, taking long walks through the woods near his home, and learning to sit comfortably in his own company. In the peace of solitude, he discovered a level of mental clarity and emotional balance that he had never experienced before. The quiet that once seemed daunting had become a source of strength and healing. What makes living alone so beneficial to mental health is the ability to craft a lifestyle that truly supports your emotional and psychological needs. You are no longer navigating the needs or schedules of others, which means you can create routines that are entirely your own. Or want to start your day with meditation or exercise? You can. Need time in the afternoon to journal or engage in creative hobbies? It's your time to use as you wish. The absence of external demands gives you the freedom to focus on self-care, whether that's engaging in activities that calm your mind, exploring new passions, or simply embracing the quiet moments of solitude. Many find that living alone allows for a deeper sense of self-awareness and mindfulness. Without the constant pull of social obligations, you begin to listen to your thoughts more carefully, observe your emotions without judgment, and respond to your needs with greater compassion. It's in these moments of solitude that you can develop a greater sense of inner peace, learning to appreciate your own company and finding joy in the simplicity of being present. Solitude also provides a space for introspection and emotional processing. For those who have experienced loss, stress, or major life transitions, living alone can offer the necessary quiet to heal. When no external voices are filling the air, you have the time to sit with your thoughts and reflect on what you've been through, what you've learned, and how you want to move forward. This kind of reflective time can lead to personal growth as you begin to understand yourself more deeply and come to terms with the challenges you've faced. What's more, the peace of living alone can reduce the mental clutter that often contributes to stress and anxiety. Without the constant need to accommodate others, you can create an environment that fosters calmness. You can choose to fill your home with things that bring you peace, whether it's soft music, calming scents, or spaces dedicated to mindfulness practices like meditation or yoga. It's not just about the absence of others, it's about creating a space that nurtures your mental and emotional health. In the end, living alone becomes a powerful tool for maintaining and improving mental health. It allows you to focus on what makes you happy, to engage in self-care without interruption, and to find healing in the quiet moments of solitude. For many men, the shift to solo living marks the beginning of a new chapter, one where they can prioritize their well-being, reconnect with themselves, and experience a deeper sense of inner peace. The journey may begin with solitude, but it leads to personal empowerment and mental clarity that enriches every aspect of life. 7. Strengthened relationships. Living alone often brings about an unexpected yet powerful shift in the way you engage with others, leading to stronger, more meaningful relationships. While it might seem counterintuitive, stepping away from the constant presence of others creates space for reflection and fosters a deeper appreciation for the connections you do have. When you're not surrounded by people day in and day out, the moments you spend with loved ones become more intentional. You begin to truly value your time together, and each interaction takes on a greater sense of purpose and meaning. One of the most remarkable changes that occurs when living alone is that your relationships are no longer based on routine or pleasure. Instead, they are driven by genuine desire and care. You're no longer caught in the web of daily proximity or social expectations, which often leads to superficial interactions. Instead, you make the conscious decision to connect with others, creating relationships that are richer, more heartfelt, and far more fulfilling. I experienced this shift firsthand after I started living alone. At first, I worried that the physical distance from others would lead to loneliness or weaken my bonds with friends and family. But I quickly realized that the opposite was true. Living alone allowed me to approach my relationships with greater intention. Instead of seeing friends or family members out of a sense of duty, I found myself genuinely looking forward to our time together. Each visit, each phone call became something I cherished, not just another item on the to-do list. And when we did spend time together, the conversations were deeper and more heartfelt. The absence of constant interaction made each moment we shared feel more precious, and I began to appreciate those connections on a much deeper level. Interestingly, this sense of intentionality and appreciation also seems to strengthen the bonds with those closest to you. Without the tension that can sometimes arise from living in close quarters, relationships take on a new dynamic, one that is built on mutual respect and enjoyment rather than necessity. I recall reading a touching story from a man who, after living alone for a few years, noticed a profound improvement in his relationship with his children. Previously, when they all lived under the same roof, there had been moments of friction, typical family tensions that come with shared spaces and conflicting schedules. But after he moved into his place, something changed. When his children visited, the atmosphere was different, more relaxed, more loving. The tension that had once existed was replaced by a sense of ease and warmth. Their time together became more intentional, more focused on enjoying each other's company, rather than simply coexisting under the same roof. He found himself looking forward to their visits in a way he hadn't before, and they, in turn, appreciated the welcoming, peaceful environment he had created in his home. This shift in relationships often extends beyond family to friendships as well. When you live alone, you become more selective with your time, and this naturally leads to a deeper sense of connection with the people you choose to engage with. You're no longer swept up in the social obligations that come with shared living, hosting guests out of convenience, or maintaining friendships out of habit. Instead, you cultivate relationships that bring joy, support, and meaning to your life. Every interaction becomes a conscious choice, and as a result, the conversations are richer, the moments together more meaningful. Living alone also allows for an important balance between social connection and solitude. a balance that strengthens relationships rather than detracts from them. When you have the space to recharge and reflect on your own, you're better equipped to show up fully in your relationships. You're not constantly depleted by the presence of others, which can sometimes lead to feelings of overwhelm or frustration. Instead, you have the energy to be fully present during your interactions, to listen more deeply, and to engage more authentically. This balance between solitude and connection fosters a deeper sense of empathy and understanding, which can greatly enhance the quality of your relationships. Moreover, the time spent alone often gives you a clearer sense of who you are and what you truly value, and this self-awareness naturally enhances your relationships with others. When you're more in tune with yourself, you're able to bring your authentic self into your interactions. You're not trying to meet anyone's expectations or mold yourself to fit a role within a group dynamic. Instead, you show up as the truest version of yourself, and this authenticity invites deeper, more genuine connections with others. Living alone also creates the space to appreciate the relationships you may have taken for granted. When you're no longer constantly surrounded by people, you begin to miss the company of those you care about, and this absence can lead to a greater appreciation for the time you do spend together. The simple act of sharing a meal, having a conversation, or enjoying a quiet evening with a loved one becomes something to look forward to and cherish, rather than just another part of the daily routine. This shift in perspective can bring a newfound sense of gratitude and joy to your relationships, strengthening the bond you share with Sisi. In the end, living alone can lead to a profound transformation in your relationships. It creates the space for deeper reflection, greater intentionality, and more authentic connections. Whether it's with family, friends, or new acquaintances, the interactions you have are no longer driven by routine or obligation, but by a genuine desire to connect. You learn to cherish the time you spend with others, and in doing so, you create relationships that are stronger, more meaningful, and far more fulfilling than ever before. 8. Independence and confidence. Living alone as an older man brings with it a profound sense of independence and confidence, a feeling that grows as you navigate life on your terms. Without the reliance on others for daily tasks or decisions, you develop a deeper sense of self-sufficiency. This autonomy, while sometimes daunting at first, becomes a source of empowerment, especially as you age. You learn to trust yourself more fully, to handle challenges with resilience, and to embrace the freedom that comes from being in complete control of your life. There's something uniquely satisfying about knowing that you can manage your own life, from the smallest tasks to the bigger, more complex decisions. It's not just about getting by, it's about thriving in your independence. The more you handle things on your own, the more capable you feel, and that sense of capability is incredibly empowering. I can still vividly remember the first time I was faced with a household issue that I had to solve by myself. It was a leaky faucet, something I had always relied on others to fix in the past. But now, living alone, there was no one to call on. I was faced with a choice: either wait for help or figure it out on my own. I chose the latter. I watched a few online tutorials, gathered the necessary tools, and got to work. I'll admit, I was hesitant at first, unsure of whether I could fix it. But when I finally succeeded in stopping the leak, the sense of accomplishment was indescribable. It wasn't just about fixing a faucet, it was about proving to myself that I could handle the unexpected challenges of life. That small victory filled me with a sense of confidence that spilled over into other areas of my life, reminding me that I was fully capable of taking care of myself, even when things got tough. This kind of empowerment is something many older men discover when they begin living alone. It's not just about managing the practical aspects of life, it's about the sense of pride that comes from knowing you can stand on your own 2 feet. There's a quiet dignity in being able to care for yourself, in making your own decisions, and in handling life's ups and downs without needing to rely on anyone else. Every task you complete and every decision you make becomes a reminder of your strength and independence. One story that comes to mind is from a man in his 70s who shared on a forum how living alone gave him a renewed sense of confidence after the passing of his wife. At first, he was unsure if he could manage the household on his own. For years, he had relied on his partner to help with cooking, cleaning, and handling the practicalities of daily life. But over time, as he learned to navigate these tasks independently, something shifted. He began to feel a sense of accomplishment with each meal he cooked, each repair he made, and each challenge he faced. The fear and uncertainty he initially felt about living alone began to fade, replaced by a growing confidence in his abilities. This newfound independence not only helped him cope with his loss, but also gave him a sense of pride and self-assurance that he hadn't experienced in years. He spoke of how living alone had transformed his life in unexpected ways, reigniting a sense of purpose and capability that had once seemed lost. For many men, the journey toward independence that comes with living alone leads to a deeper sense of self-reliance. When you're the one responsible for everything, from managing finances to maintaining your home, you naturally become more resourceful and resilient. You develop a kind of inner strength that allows you to face challenges head-on, knowing that you have the tools and the confidence to overcome them. Each new task you tackle, whether it's fixing something around the house, learning to cook a new dish, or managing your health, reinforces your sense of autonomy and builds your self-confidence. Living alone also offers a unique opportunity to redefine what it means to age. Many older men find that living solo allows them to break free from the stereotypes and expectations that society places on aging. Instead of feeling dependent or helpless, they embrace their independence, proving to themselves and others that they are fully capable of managing their own lives. This shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating, as it allows you to age with dignity and confidence, knowing that you're in control of your path. The confidence gained from living alone often spills over into other areas of life. You start to approach new experiences with a sense of curiosity and fearlessness, knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. Whether it's traveling solo, taking up a new hobby, or tackling a project you've always wanted to try, the independence you've cultivated gives you the freedom to explore life without hesitation. Moreover, this independence fosters a deep sense of personal growth. You begin to learn more about yourself, your strengths, your preferences, and your resilience. Each new experience teaches you something valuable, and with each challenge you overcome, your confidence grows. The self-reliance you develop not only helps you navigate the practicalities of life, but also enhances your emotional well-being, giving you a greater sense of control over your happiness. In the end, living alone as an older man is about much more than just managing daily tasks. It's about reclaiming your independence and building a life that reflects your capabilities and desires. It's about proving to yourself that you can thrive, no matter what life throws your way. The confidence that comes from knowing you are fully self-sufficient is a gift that continues to grow with each new day, empowering you to embrace an unwavering belief in yourself. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 4 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. 9. Rediscovery of simple pleasures. Living alone as an older man offers a wonderful opportunity to rediscover the simple pleasures that can often be overlooked in the hustle and bustle of shared living. When you're free from the distractions and demands of others, you gain the space to truly savor life's quiet moments, those small, yet deeply fulfilling experiences that bring joy and contentment. Whether it's the peacefulness of a good book, the mindfulness of gardening, or the pure delight of a quiet cup of tea at dawn, living alone opens the door to a slower, more intentional way of living where simple joys take center stage. One of the greatest gifts of solo living is the ability to reconnect with these everyday pleasures that might have once seemed too small or fleeting to fully appreciate. Without the noise of daily obligations or the constant presence of others, you can focus on the things that truly bring you happiness. There's no rush, no pressure to be anywhere but exactly where you are, and that sense of stillness allows you to immerse yourself in the beauty of life's moments. I've always considered myself a morning person, but it wasn't until I began living alone that I truly started to appreciate the quiet magic of the early hours. Without the distractions of a busy household, mornings became my sanctuary, a time when the world still fell asleep, and I had the luxury of embracing the day at my own pace. I decided to start a small garden in my backyard, something I had always dreamed of but never found the time for. Now, my mornings are spent tending to my plants, feeling the soil between my fingers, and watching the sun slowly rise over the horizon. With a cup of tea in hand, I sit and savor the stillness, enjoying the soft hum of nature as my garden comes to life. It's a simple routine, but the joy and fulfillment it brings me are immeasurable. There's something profoundly rewarding about witnessing the growth of something you've nurtured with your own hands. It's a quiet, personal triumph that reminds me daily of the beauty of simplicity. In my journey of living alone, I've come across others who share similar stories. One video I watched featured an older man who had found immense joy in his garden, much like I had. Living alone gave him the freedom to dedicate hours each day to tending his plants, cultivating a small but vibrant oasis. He spoke about the fulfillment that came from watching his garden grow, how each bloom felt like a personal victory, and how the simple act of caring for his plants had become a deeply meaningful part of his life. He described the peace and satisfaction of knowing that he had created this beautiful, living space entirely on his own, a place where he could retreat, reflect, and reconnect with the earth. His story resonated with me because it captured the essence of what living alone can offer: the chance to embrace and rediscover the simple pleasures that make life rich and rewarding. This rediscovery isn't limited to gardening or early mornings. Living alone allows you to reconnect with any number of small joys that might have been pushed aside in the past. Maybe it's taking the time to read a book you've always wanted to, or sitting on the porch and watching the sunset without interruption. Perhaps it's enjoying a quiet meal, cooked just the way you like it, or taking up a hobby you've long forgotten. Whatever it is, living alone gives you the space and freedom to immerse yourself in these experiences, fully and without distraction. The beauty of these simple pleasures is that they often lead to a deeper sense of contentment and peace. When you're no longer racing through life, trying to meet the demands of others or keep up with a busy household, you begin to see the world in a different light. You start to notice the small details, the way the light filters through the trees in the afternoon, the sound of rain tapping against the window, and the quiet pleasure of solitude. These moments, once overlooked, become sources of joy and fulfillment, reminding you that life's greatest pleasures are often found in its simplest experiences. For many older men, living alone is about more than just finding peace. It's about reclaiming a sense of joy that may have been lost along the way. It's about slowing down, appreciating the present, and rediscovering the pleasures that truly make life meaningful. In doing so, you begin to craft a life that is uniquely your own, filled with moments of personal reflection, growth, and happiness. As I reflect on my journey, I can honestly say that living alone has been one of the most fulfilling choices I've ever made. It has given me the space to rediscover who I am, pursue my passions, and find joy in the simplest of moments. Whether it's the quiet of an early morning or the satisfaction of tending to my garden, these small pleasures have brought me a deeper sense of peace and contentment than I ever thought possible. As we come to the end of this video, I hope you found some valuable insights into the journey of living alone as an older man. Whether it's the peace of solitude, the rediscovery of simple pleasures, or the newfound independence that comes with it, there's so much to embrace. Now, I want to hear from you. What have you learned so far? Is there one lesson or idea from this video that resonates with you? Something you're eager to bring into your own life? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you plan to put these insights into practice. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave your comment below. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching.